everyone. This is Jason here from thelawofassumption.org. And today in this video, I'm going to walk you through a really simple process that I've developed that works wonders for me when applying the law of assumption in my life. And I want to share this with you because I think a lot of people attempt to use the law of assumption to get the things that they want in their life. You may be a person that fits this exact description, but it's just not working for you. You've tried it, it's not working. And I want to quote Neville Goddard because he said something really powerful. I'm sure you've heard him say this many times in his lectures and even alluding to it in some of his books. But what he says is that, in response to someone saying like, well, I'm trying so hard and it's not working. And Neville says, well, that's why you're failing. Because imagination will do little under compulsion. We cannot compel our imagination to do something for us until we have completely stepped into the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And I believe that part of the reason that this happens is because people tend, and I've been totally in this place myself, so no shame, no judgment. But what we tend to do is we think that we don't have the answer. We think that we're not doing it right. We think that there's something missing. There's some piece. And we start to generate all this doubt and fear. And then our reality around us starts responding to that and generating more doubt and fear type elements. And we don't know what to do. So in this video, I'm going to show you a very simple process. I'm going to try and do this as quickly as possible. So please understand that this is kind of the Cliff Notes version of this process, but honestly, this is really all you need to get started. And then I think you can apply this yourself in your own life into what you're doing. So the first thing is you must know what you want. And of course, we all have heard this before, but I want to just emphasize here that you must know what you really want, right? So you got to know what you really want. And this is really important because often what we do is we get really focused on something that we want, and maybe we're not actually identifying what it is that we really want. What is our heart's desire? I believe this process works most effectively when you know what you really want and you're working on your heart's desire. So a very simple thing you can do is, let's say these lines represent what you want, and then this is the thing that you think you want. I recommend that you go a few steps beyond that and actually try to focus on that. So for example, let's say that it's a car, and please forgive my wonderful handwriting here. So you think that what you want is a new car, a brand new car, and this is just such a common example to use. But what you really want is what the car symbolizes. So I'm just going to undo that, and we'll just stick with good old-fashioned text here. So yeah, what you really want is what the car symbolizes, and what that car symbolizes to you is wealth. Okay, so you think you want the car, but what you really want is wealth. So this is important because we have to remember that reality has these two polarities to it. There's the objective world that we're living in, and there's the subjective world of our internal experience. And when we're trying to create things in our life, when we're trying to shift our reality, there's a tendency sometimes to get overly focused on the objects, the objective world, the car, the person, the specific house, or the specific thing we want. But what we really want is this over here. We want the feeling. Now, please don't misunderstand me. I am not saying that you can't have the specific thing. I'm not saying you can't have the car. Quite the contrary. What I'm saying is that when we're over here and we're focused on the feeling of the thing that we want, that's when we get much better results. Sometimes things are going to show up exactly as you asked for them or intended for them, but sometimes they're going to show up differently. And it's important to be okay with that. It's important to detach from the outcome, because when we get too attached to this specific thing, you are essentially blocking it. You end up in a feeling state of lack. So I want to emphasize that often we think we're in the feeling state of wealth, for example, but what actually ends up happening is we end up over here. So let me see. boom, we end up in a feeling state that's quite lack and not having it. Okay, so we think that we're in the feeling state of wealth, but we accidentally end up in the feeling state of lack and not having what we think we want. So this is very important because, of course, Neville tells us this is super important, that feeling is the secret. Okay, I've heard a lot of people debate this topic. I'm going to tell you right now, feeling is the secret. As Thomas Troward says, feeling is the law, and the law is feeling. You've got to feel it. Now, there are definitely different ways to feel something. There's kind of what I call a feelingly state, and that's the emotions around what we want, or as Neville would say, catching the mood. So there's the mood of what we want. What is the mood of wealth? What is the mood of love and romance? That's the mood. And then there's a feelingness, which is belief and knowing and trust and gratitude. And this is what I see Neville talk about when he says, thanking the Father, knowing that it's done. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father. Isn't it wonderful? And these kinds of, this is feelingness, just knowing that it's done. There's a particular lecture where Neville, it's a question and answer period where someone asks him, when I'm falling asleep at night and I'm doing my imaginal acts, I have trouble with this feeling, staying in the feeling. And Neville says, I never meant emotion. I meant knowing that it's done. And I believe that he meant both. Neville's a human being. He said a lot of things throughout his career, but people often isolate that one question and answer period. But I think that that one question and answer period dismisses a whole body of work. And my own personal experience, I don't know about you, but just knowing something is done is not usually the thing that gets me where I need to go. It is an ingredient and an important one. Don't get me wrong, but feeling the mood, being in the state, and we're going to talk about this in a minute when we talk about self-concept. So here again, I want to remind you, we've got the objective thing that we want, and we have the subjective experience. That's our internal experience of the thing, how it makes us feel. These are the symbols of reality. And the symbols are actually way more important to us than the objects. What we really want are the symbols. And, Neville also talks about this, and I think a lot of people miss this one, that what we're focused on are the ideals. Okay, so the ideals are the symbols. Those are the things that really matter to us. And in life, again, we have this tendency to confuse the thing for the symbol. The things are not important. The material objects are going to stay in this earthly realm. They're not coming with us, but they are important reflections of who we are being on the inside and what we're giving to ourselves. So this is an important thing, is starting out with knowing what you really want. So I wanted to be quick in this video. I'm going to stick with that. So number 2 is creating a bubble. And what we want to do when we create our bubble, so let's see if I can, when we create our bubble, I need to get myself a better whiteboard editor. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to have God, subconscious, higher self, whatever you want to call it. But really what this first ingredient in our bubble is belief. Okay, so we need belief. And then the second ingredient that we need is a self-concept, okay? And we're going to talk about all of these. And then the last one is the feeling state, okay? So again, this is that common. What would it be like if it were true? And also catch the mood. Catch the mood. What does it feel like that now that it's true? Okay, so these are the 3 ingredients of our bubble. Okay, so beginning with number 1. Essentially what we're doing with number 1 is we're creating belief. Okay, so the point of the bubble, here's our bubble, and I'm such a great artist. I am such a great artist. This is my affirmation for this video. I am such a great artist. Okay, my first bubble is probably the best one. This is my bubble, okay? And what we're doing is we're going to, at the very top here, we're going to put our belief. Belief, okay? And this is the most important thing in our bubble, okay? Now this This is you. Boop, 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 boop. Hey, I can draw stick figures, right? See, my affirmation is fulfilled. So I'm inside this bubble. You are inside this bubble. And the most important thing in the bubble is our belief. But there are other important ingredients here too. And let's see, we're going to add another one here, which is our self-concept. Okay, so this is who we are being inside this bubble. So it's your beingness that actually manifests. Now, you can want specific things, but have you ever noticed when you're trying to manifest something specific and it shows up kind of funky or even opposite or negative? So you're manifesting this positive thing and it shows up in this really funky way. Usually, in my experience, that means that there's something about my self-concept that is pushing this thing away from me, and then I end up manifesting some weirdness around it. So it's very important that the self-concept is connected to these ideals. So in the example of wealth, I need a self-concept that supports being wealthy. I need to have this self-concept. Regardless of what's going on in my 3D reality around me, I need a very strong self-concept. So I'm going to begin with belief, with God, with my subconscious mind, my higher self, however you like to frame this, because this is going to be the rock that I stand on while I am looking around and going, oh, where is it, right? I don't see love around me, but I'm, building my bubble here, okay? We're going to seal ourselves in the bubble. That's step 3. The third thing we need is a feeling state. So we connect the self-concept with the feeling state. So here you are, you have a self-concept. And by the way, one of the best ways to build your self-concept is with affirmations. And of course, visualization, imagination, all these kinds of things can help build your self-concept. But I also find that it's powerful, very powerful, to connect God into your self-concept. So this is the idea for me, something that I apply in my life, is that I am a child of the infinite, right? God is pouring through me. An infinite source, an infinite supply flows into my life, into my businesses, into my financial success. These are the affirmations that you can tap into, and you've got to create them for yourself because you really need to believe them and feel them inside. This is how you build a really strong self-concept. And essentially, your self-concept that you have today is the thing that's holding you away from what you're trying to create in your life. Then we go into the feeling state. So the feeling state is this very subjective thing that we embody. And we say that, what would it be like? What would it be like? What would it feel like if it were true? And you have to really give this to yourself. This takes time. And that's the point of imagination and visualization, is building that feeling inside yourself, regardless of what's going on around you. And that, again, is the point of this bubble, okay? So your bubble is the thing that's going to manifest for you. The bubble is your let's call this your reality bubble. So when we get to step 3, we're going to seal the bubble, okay? That's down here. And we're going to seal the bubble. So let's talk about strategies for sealing the bubble. And some of these things, you might not like them, but they're really super important. And the first one is you've got to get yourself off of YouTube, forums like Reddit. There's all sorts of them. No outside external questioning. Okay, this is what Wallace Wattles in The Science of Getting Rich refers to as the certain way. You've got to be certain. Going to these external sources is just creating more confusion in your life. So you got to create a bubble for yourself. And I recommend that you do this for 30 days. I'm not saying you have to do this for the rest of your life, but you may find after 30 days that you want to do this for the rest of your life, or most of the time. 30 days is where we're going to cleanse your existing reality, and we're going to seal yourself in the bubble. I also recommend tools like the Magic Note Card. This is where you write down your manifestation on the note card. You read it every day, 3 times a day. If you want more about that, you can read the book called It Works. But again, read this book, and once you seal the bubble, then put it aside. Okay, we're going to stop asking questions. We're going to stop the disbelief for 30 days because that's what you're doing. You're disbelieving. Then what we're going to do is we're also going to do affirmations throughout the day and visualizations. We're going to do all the techniques that help you stay in this feeling state, because that is where we're going to persist. Persist in the feeling state. And this feeling state is where we need to be all the time, regardless of what's going on. Because things are going to happen, right? Things are going to come at us. Some business deal we're trying to close, we're going to lose it, okay? And we're going to go, oh, no, I'm not doing it right. Or the specific person you're trying to manifest is going to throw eggs at your house, okay? And things are going to happen. And what's happening here is when we seal ourselves in this bubble, we're effectively, what we're communicating to our subconscious mind is that we know you got this. And we're going to keep affirming it. We're going to go back to God, to our subconscious mind. We're going to create that belief. And there's a lot of strategies to do this. We don't have time in this video, but one other thing I'm going to add here, and this is super important. Especially if your manifestation requires it, you're going to take lots of action. And I know that people will debate this or whatever, but why would you not take action if you have this total belief in yourself? You will take all the action. You take action knowing that your success is inevitable, knowing that your success is guaranteed, because you've got God, your higher self on your side. You've got this powerful belief. You have this self-concept, and you have this feeling state. You need nothing else. You're going to seal yourself in this bubble. And if your manifestation requires action, you're going to take action. But that action should be inspired. It should feel good. It should come naturally to you. And you should be doing it from this bubble, inside this bubble. So whatever you need to do every day to get yourself inside the bubble, stand in front of the mirror, do affirmation. There's lots of techniques, right? Meditation, visualization. But keep yourself in the bubble. And anytime you're in a place of doubt or fear, you get back in the bubble. You persist in the bubble. But we've got to turn out the outside forces, okay? So my goal for you after watching this video, start today. Give yourself 30 days. Give it to yourself. No matter what is happening in your world, create your magic note card. Write on there what you want. Keep it with you. Read it 3 times a day. Meditate on it. But feel that it's already done. Give it to yourself today and stay in your bubble. And know that your bubble is what manifests. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this helps you. I know it will.